Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. I am coming to you live from a prison somewhere, Colorado. I'll just let you see. They didn't trust me on the bottom floor, so they went ahead and put me up top. Look, we got a lot going on. The Nasdaq and the S&P are selling off, and crypto is shining today. Now, it's not up massively on a percentage basis. About a couple of hours ago, it was doing okay. But we just experienced the ETF beginning of the ETF, and we've seen massive inflows. We're going to bring somebody on. I've got a best-selling cryptocurrency author in my cell with me. Just give me proof of life real quick. Just say hi.
Hello, hello.
There you go.
He's alive.
That's perfect. We'll let you know who that is in a second, but we're going to go through the stories off CNBC about this sell-off, and then we're going to talk about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Solana, XRP. There's a lot of movement happening. We're seeing some ascending wedges. We're seeing some possible breakouts. I'll let you know where I'm at, which ironically, all of my trading position is in cash right now. Yes, I've missed like 5%. But my point being is that I'm about ready to make another move, and I want to show you guys how to do that. So on CNBC, Nasdaq futures fall after Alphabet, Tesla report earnings, live updates. It says here, the Nasdaq 100 futures traded lower Wednesday as investors were underwhelmed by quarterly reports from mega cap tech companies, Alphabet and Tesla. Now, we've talked about this before and how dangerous this is. This is really similar. It really isn't, but during the dot-com bubble, the dot-com stocks, there was lots of them that were super overvalued, right? And what a lot of traders, professional traders, feared on Wall Street was that if that bubble burst, the Nasdaq popping would take out the S&P and the Dow, and that's exactly what happened. This time is much different. We have a handful of stocks, primarily the FANGs plus NVIDIA and a couple others, just a handful of stocks that are holding up these entire indexes. Okay, so today when you see news coming out about Alphabet and about Tesla and hey, things aren't looking good, well, when those stocks start to sell off a little bit, they actually affect the entire index and the entire market as well. And that's what's really, really scary. Similar to what Bitcoin does, the Bitcoin effect to altcoins, but we'll get into that in a second. It says futures tied to the tech-heavy Nasdaq 100 moved down 1%, while S&P 500 futures fell 0.7%. Dow Jones Industrial Average futures fell 173 points or 0.4%. It says here, shares of Google's parent company, Alphabet, fell 3.8% in pre-market trading, although Alphabet reported a top and bottom line beat. YouTube advertising revenue fell below the consensus estimate. Meanwhile, Tesla shares declined more than 8% on weaker than expected results and a 7% year-over-year drop in auto revenue. Let me speak to that real quick. Back in October of 2022, Elon Musk came out and said, the auto apocalypse has begun, get ready. And a lot of people laughed at him because they were still seeing skyrocketing car prices. What did Elon Musk do right after that? Elon, if you're watching, hope you're doing well. We should get together one day. And we were witnessing a massive move in Tesla because Elon Musk started drastically cutting the price of his cars. He did it well before any of the other car companies did. And what happened was he spurred that last minute growth. It's almost like when you want to sell something and you go, hey, last minute sale, and you hurry up. And that's when people move in, right? And people dove into Tesla. And that helped out for a handful of quarters. But now it's time to pay the piper. And Elon Musk already warned that those sales are going to diminish, right? The last little move of people racing in to buy those cars they can't afford on payments more than likely they can't afford. But hey, this is America. And so we're at a moment now where Elon Musk just came out the other day and saying, hey, after this IT glitch, you're going to see massive supply chain crashes, crunches, and problems. He's telling you what's actually already happening. But it's almost like he's a wizard and he can tell the future. But it's because he understands supply chain, market dynamics, and things like that. Things that not everybody here understands, right? Type 1 if you understand this, what I'm talking about, how you can take data that is happening right now and a month or two in the past and be able to project where the market's going to go because those reports haven't been written yet and told to the public. So see, once you start seeing that, and see, I'm seeing a lot of ones, so people get this. Type 2 if you don't understand how this works. Time lag. I've spoken about it a lot of times before. you can get caught up in this swell, all right? So it says right here, those reports mark in, oh, sorry, here, I missed this one thing. Talking about the year-over-year revenue decline in YouTube, it says those reports mark investors' first look at how mega cap companies fared during the second quarter. Reports from these names are of special interest to Wall Street, as the small cohort is responsible for the bulk of this year's gains. Now, you know that I've talked about gold and silver and why it's important in your portfolio. When you look at the rise in gold and silver on a percentage basis from January till today, and then you compare it to the rise in S&P, gold is blowing its doors off. So who here owns gold? Let me know down below, hashtag it down below. Love being able to talk about gold and silver because you're talking about an arbitrage situation. For people that bought gold in January now and didn't buy S&P can actually sell their gold and buy more S&P. And this is really, really important. Hold on, right now there's a scammer. Let me hide the person. And just a quick reminder, I will never invest your money. I'll never ask you for money unless you want to buy a course. I don't need your money and I can't invest it for you. So do not follow scammers. People are getting robbed every single day. And that speaks to what is coming in this market crash. A lot of people, I wouldn't use the word gullible, they're hopeful. A lot of people are hopeful that they'll put their money into the market, into an index fund, and it's just going to keep going up. But that's not the case. In the case in the year 2001, it definitely wasn't the case in the year 2008, or actually the years around those dates, where the Dow Jones shed 50% of its value. Now, since I started this channel, I've been talking about cryptocurrency. I've been talking about Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin, when I started the channel, was at what, 2,000 bucks, 2,200 bucks, right? Maybe 1,800. My first Bitcoin I bought was at 500. I leveraged it. I still have it. Right? I have everything that I've still originally purchased. And then I started actively trading it. It's been a game changer. And there are a lot of very smart people with a lot of degrees with letters behind them, way more than the that says expect $1 million Bitcoin. Why is that? It's super simple to explain because adoption is at, what are we at? Worldwide adoption, do you think right now?
Probably over 300 million at least.
Yeah, but what percentage? I mean, that's nothing, right? We have 2%, 3%?
Yeah, it's still so low globally.
Yeah. Okay.
Not even 10%.
Yeah, it's insane. And that's, when he's talking about it, the guest I got in a second, when we're talking about adoption rates, that's just people that own maybe even $5 or $10 worth of Bitcoin, right? They haven't even moved into altcoins. And that's where you get excited. You know, the dot-com bubble became the dot-com bubble because companies focused around a new invention, a new creation called the internet when it was made public, right, through AOL. Who here remembers AOL? Type 3, if you remember it. That means you're old, like me. But my point being is that these companies started to focus around, and a lot of people would make fun of it, like Katie Couric, famously making fun of the internet or emails, like, I'm never going to use emails. Who's going to do that? Well, that's a lot of people talking about cryptocurrency, right? If you own cryptocurrency right now, type 5 and then hashtag your favorite project. And I say that because I want people to see how many people have been involved in this for a while. And it's definitely can be scary. I wish I would have bought it at first when I tried talking my coworkers into it when it was it 40 cents a piece. I didn't buy my first Bitcoin until it was 500 bucks. Honestly, a $10 investment, I would have what, 20, 30 Bitcoin, whatever it is. Do the calculations on how much 25 Bitcoin would be worth right now, what $10 would have turned into. Or you could do the math. If I bought 2 Bitcoin at 500 a piece, I'd spend $1,000. You can do the math there. You can see how quick it's been up, right? But it's scary. And it took me about 2 or 3 hours of actual raw work to figure it out. It took me 8 hours to figure out how to mine it. And then 10 hours to figure out how to arbitrage it from exchange to exchange. Now, a lot of those opportunities are gone. However, because of the ETFs jumping into the market right now and massive private equity money and hedge fund money, and I mean, the largest retirement company in Japan has said, we're going to dive into Bitcoin. To say that you're going to see more buyers than sellers in the long term over the next few years, I'm saying, not even really long term, it's an incredible opportunity. So look, I'm going to do, and I'm going to bring on Dylan in a second. I want to throw a shout out to the registration form down below. We're doing a free Ask Me Anything AMA and a training on how to get an account, open an account, how to secure crypto, common things that people don't understand to put your mind at ease, to get you to that motion where at least, why wouldn't you buy $10 worth? Now, that's not financial advice. That's life advice. If somebody can't figure out how to take $10 and go buy a couple silver dimes, or $10 to go to a Bitcoin ATM, spit out a paper wallet or download one on your phone, right? And then just scan the QR code and put $10 worth of Bitcoin on there. If you can't do that, well, then you've got really big problems. And I know a lot of people say that. I don't got the money for that. I don't even have $10. As I look at what model phone you have and you realize how old mine is, yeah, you see the problem? And so that's what separates successful people from unsuccessful people. Successful people try things. They wade in. They handle their risk properly. They're properly diversified. And then once they really start to know, they move in a little bit more. Most people take a hot stock tip, hot crypto tip, or some advice about real estate from somebody that only gains if you buy or sell something and gets a commission, only to get completely wrecked. So if you want to click that link, there's a limited space. It's already over halfway full. And so check that out. Now, Dylan, I want to bring Dylan on. And are you wanted to come on?
Sure.
All
yeah.
right, cool. So let's move the camera here. Let's do this. Let's move to the other side of the cell. Here we go. All right. So this is, I'll let you introduce yourself. Dylan. I don't know.
Dylan. Yeah. I've been on the channel before, but back here today, Travis.
Yeah. And Dylan is the author of Bitcoin Accelerator. And I think, is there any other books?
Several other books. Yeah. So I've written a bunch of different marketing books and sales and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Smarter than me. So Dylan had a list of questions that are already starting to formulate for tomorrow night's live AMA. And do you want to talk about some of those?
Yeah. So one of the things that when you sign up for the AMA, we ask you just to fill a quick survey. And basically it's like, what's the number one thing that you want to accomplish with learning about Bitcoin and crypto? The reason why we ask that question is, one, we want to understand where you're at, what you're looking for, what your pain points are, what you're excited for, but also so that we can help deliver content and messages that are relevant to you.
Yeah. So one of the things that me and Dylan want to be very successful, and I want every single one of you to be successful. Well, how do you become successful in anything? You make other people successful, right? Whether that be me, coaching people through real estate when I was a real estate agent, or, what I was doing consulting when I had a construction company or flipping properties, things like that. Well, when we talk about cryptocurrency, we have between you, me, and Joe, I don't remember how many years of combined experience. You added it a while ago. It's a lot.
Yeah.
We've been in this, we're in the early adopter phase.
Probably close to 30.
Yeah.
At least.
It's been absolutely an incredible game changer for all of us financially. But what's scary is how many scams are out there. And that's what blows me away. And some people, we've seen some examples of scams. What are some that just blew your mind?
Oh man, the craziest one, if you want to go extreme, is the dating app scam, right? So you'll have people posing as normally pretty women on dating apps because there's a dating crisis and so many men are having problems getting dates. And so they go on this dating app and then they meet this amazing woman. They think she's awesome. She's responding. And normally they don't do that for most men on dating apps. Yeah. And then next thing you know, she's talking about, her investment, crypto, that type of stuff. And I saw a story of a guy who lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's called pig butchering. And it's basically what they do is they get you to send your funds and they'll walk you through. They'll hold your hand like a professional, send your funds to an account. You can see the numbers there and they say your funds are going up, but they're not. Right, because they're not there, they're gone. Right, it's a fake account, it's a fake everything, and that's one of the most terrible, insidious scams out there, and crazy ones. But they exist. There's a ton of other ones.
Yeah, and then we have people like myself with years of experience that was running a validator node for Theta, which was the first beta test. I was part of the first beta testers for that company, and I think it's the validators, the lower version of that one, I think. And so they set up an entire site that looked just like it for me to re-up and redo my node.
Yeah.
It was scary because right as I'm thinking, I gotta put my private key in there. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Who's gonna ask me? And then I start really looking into it and it's scary. I'm like, holy cow, I've got years of experience and I'm looking at this going, anybody would fail.
Yeah.
This, And they got my address from somehow who was running the validator nodes. They knew because of the transaction hashes, the size of the transaction. And it's pretty scary. When all that comes out.
There's a video on the podcast, and if you check it out, it's called the What Bitcoin Did podcast, where they it's between Pierre McCormick and a guy named Junseth. And Junseth he's an OG Bitcoiner, and they get a hold, like this scammer called Junseth and tried to scam him out of his Bitcoin, because what they did, these scammers were able to download a list of high net worth clients, and they would just sales call them basically, and they would get them to basically send them their Bitcoin. And Junseth records the conversation, and he goes through, and it's just this like a high school kid, and he was just like so candid about it. It's wild. And they're very sophisticated. All the techniques that salesmen and everyone use, these people are trained in that. They will use those against you as human. They use your human nature against you, and they know every question to ask, every trick in the book.
Yeah. And I'll be blunt, honest. I've had almost 25 Bitcoin stolen from me in 2 different transactions. It was my first year. And I will say that I definitely had the 25 Bitcoins that I have stolen, which I've had people come and go, "Oh, you're nuts. I'd never do that." I go, you wait, right? But here's this crazy thing. We're now in a moment where we are between the early adopters and it going sort of mainstream. Well, because of that, because the government's gotten involved, it's as easy as just starting a solid exchange account, setting up your, getting your securities all set up, all done with the RFID chips that we teach and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you hear about people getting hacked on their Facebook account. I have an answer for that. I've done videos on those little, not Verichip, but what's the name of it? That's what happens when I go live. I forget everything. I'm really smart when I hit stop.
The RFID chips?
The RFID chips when I'm blanking out on it. So
YubiKey?
YubiKey. And so once you get that set up, you can either leave your stuff on exchange, which we do not suggest, or you learn how to pull it off and put it onto a cold wallet. Something like that, or a warm wallet, depending on which one you want. But my point being is the choice is yours, and it's a lot easier than what we went through, but there's still those scams.
And the key is education. Like that's where I start everyone with, and that's what I talk about in my book. So we'll talk about on the training is just you need to get educated in the space. That's like you're doing yourself a really good service if you just take the time to learn some of the fundamentals, learn the process, and really it's like 3 core things. It's what is it? Why is it important? Why is this happening now? Why is it still around 15 years later? Right. And then it's how to buy it, where to buy it. So where do you get it securely? That process, and then how to secure it. And what does that look like in the avenues that you have at your disposal there? Because it's unique and it can be overwhelming at first, but if you take the time to slow down and learn those things, it changes everything. It opens up a whole new world of possibility.
Yeah. So what we're going to do tomorrow night, if you guys want, register for it. Limited space. Obviously, I think we're about halfway filled up. But tomorrow night, we're going to spend at least an hour, if not more, teaching you a handful of trading techniques. We're going to do some live lessons. We're also going to spend a lot of time on Q&A. So the thing could go almost 2 hours. But it's free. And it's got to be off platform because of the way the algos go. We'll get better turnout, your ability to ask questions and capture them. It's too hard as everything goes flying by. Matter of fact, I got a couple at Neil. I got the rooster on. I don't know if Doug's in the house, but Doug has been trading and he's having way too much fun.
Doug sent me a message with like some amazing result. We might share that. I have to ask you, Doug, if we can share that because it was pretty incredible. We'll
probably have to bring him on. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that. Right now, I'm in cash on my trading thing. I like to tell people when I'm doing that, that's not trading advice. I could have grabbed an extra 5 or 6% in the last day, but I'm okay. I did 25% in the last 3 weeks. But I like to log in a win, and that's part of risk. I'm risk adverse. I really measure my risk and think things through like that. And I just want to go from win to win to win. And I want to minimize my losses. That's the game of the game, right? All right. Well, hey, if you guys want to check it out, let me know. Sign up, and that's it, right?
It's tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific. It's 5 Mountain, 6 Central, 7 Eastern.
Dang, I couldn't do stuff like that. All right. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. The Economic Ninja and Dylan are out. Did the snap scare you?
No.